Good afternoon. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. This is episode 95, April 8th, 2019. Great to be with you today. Just got a text from a friend. 16 states suing President Trump over declaring national emergency at our southern border. Oh yeah, this is yeah. And then it shows a picture of the United States and the electoral map. So all the blue states are suing Donald Trump over declaring a national emergency. As we've said time and time again, in 1976, the National Emergency Act gives the President of the United States the Congress. It passed a law giving the President of the United States to declare emergencies. Very loosely defined. Very, very loosely defined. Whatever the president really wants to make an emergency, it's pretty much going to go. So anyhow, Donald's going to win on this one. He's going to win. So these states, these lawsuits will go nowhere. These states are just virtue signaling. Remember, Donald won on the travel ban. These are things that the president of the United States has. Congress has given him the power to do. So this is a big deal here. This is going to go absolutely nowhere. I want to talk about and continue on with this theme of national security. Donald Trump is just winning on this border security, just a huge victory for the Republicans. They're going to win on this. Donald Trump is making sure we all know that the GOP is the party of border security. And the Democrats are just waffling. They used to say we didn't need walls. Well, they've kind of recanted on that. They want to abolish ICE. They've kind of recanted on this. So this is just a huge victory that Donald's going to be really, really strong on border security. It was a brilliant move over the last weekend, when Donald Trump was going to close the border with Mexico. Just close it down. If we don't stop all the illegals from crossing and the drugs, Donald said he was going to close it down. And people just went berserk. Oh, we're going to run out of avocados. Oh, no. This is awful. Oh, my avocados. Well, we get so many avocados from Mexico that they'll all be gone in 3 weeks. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, what a boon to the American avocado industry. Oh, good grief. It's going to quadruple overnight. Oh, how many people in California, Texas, or wherever they grow avocados are growing avocados? Oh, they'll figure out a way to grow avocados. How many American car manufacturers who need Mexican parts now are going, yeah, maybe we should get our parts from the United States or some other place. Oh, yeah, huge victory. Now, Donald's backed off this a little bit, but this is a huge victory, and he's backed off a little bit because Mexico is starting to comply. Donald he's tough on these things. Oh, he's great. Art of the deal. And to show how he's tough, Nielsen is gone. Kirstjen Nielsen has resigned. Donald Trump wants someone really tough on border security in there. And so the DHS secretary guy, let's see, this new guy, Kevin McAleenan, or however you say his name, he is the current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner. So he's going to be acting secretary of DHS now. Donald Trump loves to shake it up. I love it. Shake it up. So this is great. Donald Trump is just really, and he's saying that, hey, I want security over trade. He's being honest. He knows there's a trade-off there, but he's serious. So anyhow, this is great. At least Americans are really waking up to the border problems that we're having. It's just incredible lately. Charlie Kirk was tweeting about this. March 19th, March of last year, just last month, border apprehensions were up 142% from March 2018. 9,525 illegals were apprehended trying to illegally enter America. That number is expected to rise and will reach 1 million by the end of the year, but nothing is done. Congress must act. Secure our border now. I think this is political win for Donald. I think Americans are seeing what's going on here with our border, with the drugs coming in, with the human trafficking. So I love this emphasis. I think Donald Trump is really, really going on this. I've been reading about the Flores decision and really what all that is about. And this is really interesting. This happened. So the Flores decision that the Trump administration has been quoting from, it's about this policy that our government set up in dealing with illegal aliens coming in who are minors. So this is the big lie right now. So now that Nielsen is gone, people like Elizabeth Warren are saying, oh yeah, Pocahontas is saying that, oh, I voted against her nomination, and I knew she was really terrible. She was just putting kids in cages. Okay, this is the big Democrat lie. Okay, so we've been separating families at the border, and this came about from the Flores decision. And what happened in 1985, this girl from Guatemala was apprehended, and she was 15 years old, and she was put in jail. Her name was Jenny Lisette Flores, unaccompanied. So a 15-year-old girl from Guatemala, El Salvador. And she was apprehended by Immigration and Naturalization Service after illegally attempting to cross the Mexico-United States border. So she was putting in a detention facility. Okay. And so what happened here is there was a class action lawsuit at this time, and said that the children's rights were, this was a violation of the children's rights under the Equal Protection Clause and Due Process Clause of the United States. Okay, so a bunch of lawsuits occurred, and what happened is the Supreme Court ruled that, overturned the Ninth Circuit, of course, and basically ruled that a 7-2 decision that basically said that her rights were not violated, okay, but that they need to have a process. And so what the Supreme Court said is that they had to have a policy put in place. And so that's what Bill Clinton's administration do. Janet Reno was the Attorney General, so this is why this is called Reno versus Flores. And so or the Flores decision. So basically, the government did set up some rules about keeping unaccompanied minors. So it's really obvious if you've got a family that illegally comes into to the United States, and of course now we don't even know if they're really families. But let's suppose you have a real family. I mean, you can't put everyone in jail at the same time. And so what they did is they separated the children from the adults and in separate detention facilities. You can't put the kids in the adult jail. Oh, that's bad. So you separated them. George Bush did this. I mean, Obama did this. Okay. The numbers don't look really great because most of the Bush and Obama did is it was catch and release. They just released the illegals and said, oh, come back for their court date. Oh, like 1 or 2% would come back for their court date. So they're released. They're inside the United States. Apprehending them did no good. And so Donald Trump didn't like catch and release. And so he started putting them all in detention facilities. And you can't put the kids in the detention centers with the older parents. So they were separated. And so this putting them into cages thing is just, it's just a complete, really a big, huge lie. It's interesting to read factcheck.org, okay, very liberal. It said, did the Obama administration separate families? In defending its zero-tolerance border policy that has caused the separation of families, the Trump administration has argued that the Obama and Bush administrations did this too. That's misleading. Experts say there were some separations under previous administration, but no blanket policy to prosecute parents, and therefore separate them from their children. So anyhow, it doesn't deny that they didn't do it, but it says that they didn't have these policies that resulted in mass separation. Okay, so Obama and Bush did do this. Okay, they put the minors into detention centers. They did it. Okay, just like Trump's doing it now. They did it. Now, Donald Trump is being bold and he's telling everyone he's doing this. Bush and Obama didn't tell anyone they're doing it. And Trump doesn't want to do catch and release anymore. So more families are going to go to detention centers. Sorry, don't come into this country illegally. Oh, so this is, you read, it's just so funny that these articles are just a joke. Just a joke. Oh, it says, oh no, this is really misleading. Because did the question is, did the Obama administration separate families? The answer is yes, they did. Okay, they did. So that's what we're arguing, and that's what we're saying. Bush and Obama did this too. They did. Yes, they did. They separated these families. So anyhow, so dumb. But I think really middle America, we are wising up to this ridiculous immigration policies and lack of enforcement. I mean, such a joke. Catch and release was a complete joke. It was just a back door right into this country. You can just come into this country illegally. You probably won't get caught. No big deal. If you did get caught, you're just going to get released. So it's no big deal. Then you could go get a driver's license in California and then you can vote. Oh, there you go. So anyhow, the Democrats have been protecting this back door into the United States forever. And I think most people are just really absolutely fed up with it. Okay, now Bernie Sanders is weighing in on this. Felons should be able to vote in prison. Okay, so anyhow, if you have a felony in just 2 states now, it's my state of Kentucky and Ohio. If you ever get a felony, you just can't vote anymore at all. Now, other states are kind of reversing this, and they're allowing people to vote if you're out of jail from a felony charge. Now, there's 2 states now that allow voting while you're incarceration, and that's Vermont and it's like one other. I can't remember. I think Vermont and Maine are the only states to allow felons currently serving their sentences to vote. So anyhow, this is very controversial. Okay, when you're convicted of a crime and you're put in jail, I mean, I've mentioned this before, the gravity of what you did can be determined by the punishment that we give you. So we are punishing people for committing crimes. Allowing them to vote in prison seems like we're not punishing them as much as we should be punishing them. Let people decide, but I think we always need to remember that when we're convicting people of crimes and we're punishing them, it's not that we really have to hate these people or we're mean to them. This is a consequence of their actions. And they did something wrong, so they're going to be punished severely for what they did. That is justice. On a side note, I heard an interesting thing on my run this morning from Dennis Prager, and he was talking about with the old law of Moses and the old laws in those days, that if you lied about something, you would get the same punishment for the lie. For example, if you accused somebody of murder and then you were found out to be lying about that accusation, you would be hung. So the severity of the charge that you're charging someone else, if you were lying, you will receive that same punishment. So I thought that was, pretty incredible. He was talking about the 10 Commandments. and how you should not bear false witness. So people who bared false witness at that time could be severely punished, depending on how bad you lied about someone else's actions. Very fascinating. Oh, Robert Francis O'Rourke, he's going to weigh in on Benjamin Netanyahu. So we talk about interference of elections. Right now, Israel is they're voting on their prime minister. So right now it's Benjamin Netanyahu, and he's running to be reelected as prime minister. Okay, he is a good friend of Donald Trump. So Robert Francis O'Rourke goes just berserk on this, and he talks about how important United States-Israel relations are, but then he calls Benjamin Netanyahu a racist, okay, who's an obstacle to Middle East peace. So there you go. The left loves to do this. They just throw out the race card, okay? Throw out the race card and go ahead and dehumanize Benjamin Netanyahu. You know, what else can we say when you call somebody a racist? I mean, it's a huge ad hominem attack. And we talk about interfering with elections. We've talked a lot about the Russian collusion delusion of Russia, I guess, sending mine rays into Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is a spy for the Russians. So ridiculous. And so here Israel's having their elections, and Robert Francis O'Rourke is going to weigh in on this. And I guess he doesn't want Israelis to vote for Benjamin Netanyahu. He's going to just interfere with their elections. He's going to go ahead and just jump right in there and interfere. It's so dumb. This reminds me of when Barack Obama was wagging his finger at the Brits and saying, don't vote for Brexit. You know, you're going to go to the end of the line with trade, with America. You're going to go to the end of the line. We're going to punish you. America's going to punish the Brits that they vote for this Brexit. Oh, wow. Interfering with elections. Yeah, there you go, Barry. Oh, man. How dumb is that? Dan Bongino is really funny. He's really talking, I think he's really speaking the truth here. He tweeted, Adam Schiff is a grotesque human being not worthy of a position of any prominence. He's a known conspiracy theorist, a discredited liar, and an embarrassment to all of humankind. This is yet another lie from his sad, lying, sorry self. This guy is a disgrace to sentient beings. This is a tweet from Meditate. Adam Schiff tells Tapper, only Trump believes there are good people on both sides of a Nazi rally. This lie just keeps getting retold over and over again. It's just like Donald Trump putting kids in cages. Okay, that is a lie. We are going to put illegal aliens who are minors into detention centers. That we will do, okay? As we should, and get them out of here. Send them back to wherever they came from. Well, Adam Schiff is retelling this lie that Donald Trump concerning the Charlottesville, Virginia, turning over, removing all the Confederate statues. Donald Trump mentioned that there were good people on both sides of this debate, and there are on the statue debate. He was never saying there are a bunch of good white supremacists. That is a lie, okay? An out-and-out lie. So anyhow, what a joke. And people like Adam Schiff know they're lying. They're just lying for their own political gain. It's a disgrace. I really think it's funny what James Woods tweeted. He says, is Mitt Romney possessed all of a sudden? Why is he behaving like a Republican team player? So Mitt Romney was asked about Donald Trump's tax returns and how the Democrats just want his tax returns. I talked to a friend at work he brought up the tax returns and he laughed. And he said, oh, just anything. Oh, just anything to get him out of office. Just anything. I mean, the Democrats are completely unhinged. I guess they feel like this is like a banana republic, and, we're just going to have a coup, and we're just going to get rid of the president of the United States with a coup. Some of the top generals are going to rebel, and we're going to have a coup. Mitt Romney says it's moronic that the Democrats are trying to get his tax returns. This is so dumb. I wish Donald would just say, no, just don't release him, Donald. I mean, give me a break. Mitt Romney released his tax returns and they had a field day. Don't release the tax returns. Nobody cares about your silly tax returns. We all know the Democrats are just going to go through them and try to make fun of you somehow, some way. By the way, tax returns are so personal. This is one reason why I hate the income tax. This is so dumb that we have to reveal all this personal information. We don't share our incomes and what we make with anyone else. This is very private. Very private. So for the government to know how we spend our money is really sad. I wish we had like a national sales tax. I think that would be much better and more fair. People who have a lot of money spend a lot of money, and they'll pay a lot in taxes and national sales tax. People who are lower incomes who don't make very much money don't spend very much money. They're going to spend very little in taxes. Everyone should pay in taxes. Everyone should pay taxes. And I think that would be fair. Really fair. You spend a lot, you buy a lot of things, you pay a lot in taxes. You don't buy very much, you don't spend very much in taxes at all. And we'd all contribute to America. So we'd all want to keep taxes low. If everyone had to pay taxes, an equal percent. Tax everything, national sales tax, 15%, whatever. So shrink the government, low taxes, the economy would go crazy. And a lot of accountants would lose their job, but they'd go do something else. It's okay. So anyhow, I think this is really great. Kudos to Mitt Romney. Okay. He's finally, on the team. So anyhow, this is really kind of a sad case. The court ruled on the Hart family. So this was a family, Sarah and Jennifer Hart. I guess, these were lesbians. I guess they were married to each other. They adopted all these kids. And they are all in this big car, and they just drove off this cliff in California. And you know what? I think some of the kids survived this. I can't remember. This is just really a very sad story. I can't remember if the whole family died. Let's see. Yeah, they all died. Yeah, Jennifer and Sarah Hart. So the jury ruled that Jennifer and Sarah Hart deliberately killed themselves. This is a Fox News article, and their 6 children by driving their SUV off a 100-foot cliff in north of San Francisco. Since the beginning of this and when it first happened, there has been those of us who basically question our own sanity. We also question how we did not see this if that didn't happen. So anyhow, this very sad story. It made me think about, I was listening to a podcast with Candace Owens, and I think his name is Rob Smith. He's a conservative. Yeah, Rob Smith. A conservative who was on the show with her. And Candace Owens asked him, was it harder to come out as being gay or coming out as a conservative? And he said it was harder coming out being a conservative. I thought this was fascinating. He did talk about, he grew up, and then he finally realized that he was gay. Okay. And then he told his mom, and his mom was unhappy with him. And then he said he really had bad thoughts of suicide. It made me think about this. And so this, according to the Trevor Project, suicide is the second leading cause of death among young people ages 10 to 24. LGB youth seriously contemplate suicide at almost 3 times the rate of heterosexual youth. LGB youth are almost 5 times as likely to have attempted suicide compared to heterosexual youth. Of all the suicide attempts made by youth, LGB youth suicide attempts were almost 5 times as likely to require medical treatment. So anyhow, it talks about, in a national study, 40% of transgender adults reportedly have made suicide attempts. 92% of these individuals report having attempted suicide. So now, sometimes people are blamed for this suicide rate. And since we're not celebrating, the gay community, all right, I think there's a really big difference. Dennis Prager brings this up, a difference between tolerating the gay community and celebrating the gay community. So I think there's a really huge difference with this. And so these situations, these gay families and gay situations with this really high suicide rate is just, I think this is really kind of scary. And so anyhow, people blame others for not accepting or celebrating their lifestyle. All right. But if we think that homosexual behavior is a sin, like I do, we're not going to celebrate that lifestyle. We don't hate anybody. We don't yell and scream at them. We're going to treat them just like everyone else, right? Of course. But if they want us to celebrate their lifestyle, I am not going to celebrate that. I will tolerate that lifestyle. We all choose on how we want to live. But I'm not going to celebrate it. And it really does, I think, have a huge impact on the American family. And it's hard just to use the Hart family as an example, but because we, of course, never know exactly what's going on. But the stability of these gay families, I'm sure the studies are going to bear out they're not as stable as normal heterosexual families. But we will see, and that will be further studied. This reminds me of Lawrence Jones. He tweeted to Comrade Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. He tweeted that she gave him a hard time because this Fox News contributor had a vest on when he's down at the southern border. And he said, "Hey, AOC, I wore the vest because CBP told me to. But what's your excuse for talking like this?" And hashtag we don't talk like that. This is a Hill article showing the video of Comrade Cortez speaking to a mostly black crowd. And she was talking really weird. I think she was trying to talk like some kind of urban person. Who knows? She was talking about, I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. She was really talking really weird. And there's some pushback a little bit with her. This is one thing I really love about Donald Trump is that I tell you, he's the same to all crowds. His message is the same. Okay, I love it. I saw him in Louisville. I saw him in Charleston. I've seen his other stump speeches. It's all the same stuff. I love it. Straight and simple. He's great. I wanted to close our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We had our general conference yesterday and Saturday. And this is where our church leaders gather and give us talks, sermons, and recommendations. President Nelson, Russell M. Nelson, is the president, and he's the prophet of our church. So we believe as members of the church that he is a prophet, is a man who can communicate with God and let us know, the church know, what the church stands should be. Kind of like a Moses or an Adam, Paul, these other church leaders. So it's really a very reassuring knowledge that I have that Jesus Christ has his church once again on the face of the earth. So, some of my friends, like my dear friend who's very popular reverend of the Methodist Church. Look at how the Methodist Church appears to be splitting apart on the issue of gay marriage. Well, in our church, we don't have that problem because we have a prophet and we have apostles who look into these issues of the day, and prayerfully they can determine the will of God. We don't vote on these issues. The Methodist Church, their leaders had this big vote. So in our church, we don't vote. The church leaders, the apostles, they meet on these things. And then they have a united voice on which way we go as a church. So we don't have a problem with gay marriage. Okay? Our church does not endorse gay marriages. Okay? We know that marriage is just between a man and a woman. President Nelson was teaching about that. He says, it is the foremost duty of each man to love and care for his wife. Become one with her. Be her partner. Make it easy for her to want to be yours. No other interests in life should take priority over building an internal relationship with her. Nothing on TV, a mobile device, or a computer is more important than her well-being. I really think that's the best marriage advice you can give someone else, is that they should try to make their spouse's life as good as possible. So we're all kind of selfish people, and we think about ourselves always. And so thinking about other people first, and especially putting your wife a high priority in your life, to husbands, try to make your wives, their lives as good as possible, and wives, try to make your husband's life as good as possible. I think that's really great advice. You guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. You guys can listen and subscribe on iTunes, or watch the video on YouTube at the Philip Koerper Show. You guys have a great day. Take care.